time of year again. The season premieres. Now, these things can happen at any time between September and October. And of course, like last year, this year there's just one show that everyone's talking about. It's The Big Bang Theory. I'll be honest, I never paid much attention to this show, and you'd think it would given the setting being steeped in geek culture. Everyone was going on about how funny it was, how lovable the characters are, and every time I go on Facebook, everyone, including their mother, was posting on how hilarious it is. So I got curious. I sat down and I watched a few episodes, and I don't think it's that funny. Okay, wait, just hear me out, okay? Just hear me out. Yes, it's true, I don't think the show is funny, but that doesn't mean it's bad. If anything, it reminded me of Full House. I didn't think that show was very funny either, yet I watched every episode. Big Bang Theory is a different animal altogether. The feeling I get from watching it is confusion. A smile once in a while, but mainly confusion. Now, this has nothing to do with the geek references, believe me. I knew what they were talking about when they made a reference to anything. The reason I did not laugh at it was because it felt like it was simply written in for the sake of being written in. And in many ways, the show in general has that feeling about it. It exists simply because it can, and not with a purpose. This makes the show feel awkward, and maybe that was the intention, who knows. But the main question I have is, how did this show get so popular? How is it that this show failed with its target audience but has succeeded with the other? To answer this, you need to understand the current trends of pop culture. And before I get into that, you need to understand that the majority of the audience that enjoys Big Bang Theory are the same audience that made the following popular. The reason they like Big Bang Theory is because of the trend. Geek culture is in, and it's big. Men who are shy and nerdy used to be ridiculed about 10 years ago. Now they have to beat women off with a stick. And kids are starting to get in on the action by wearing t-shirts with pixelated video game characters despite never having played any of the games that the character is from. I know some of you are going to call bullshit on me for this, but seriously. The next time you see a 15-year-old kid walking down the street wearing a pixelated Mario t-shirt, just go up to them and ask them if they played their Atari today. Chances are they're not going to know what you're talking about. The fact of the matter is, conventional TV watchers don't want to be left behind in the evolving world of pop culture, and so when the newest, biggest show hits the airwaves, they watch it, and they like it, mainly because they're told to. Trust me, you don't hear those big voiceover segues making high claims because they mean it.
American Idol, new season begins this January on Fox.
Boy, bigger doesn't always mean better. But seriously, many conventional viewers are genuinely curious enough to give this show a try, which is great. They get into the geek culture a little more, and I think this is why some geeks like it too. It makes them feel more mainstream. When I say some, I mean a minority. Some of my fellow nerdy friends also like the show, and when it comes to personal experience, actually not liking it was the quickest way to make friends. I'm not kidding. At PAX 2012, there was some TV trivia going on while we were waiting up in lines for a panel, and I randomly yelled, "Big Bang Theory is not funny!" And people were lining up to either shake my hand, pat me on the back, or to simply yell, thank you," with their arms up in the air. I even bought this soft kitty shirt from a vendor at Sci-Fi on the Rock. And when he asked me if I liked Big Bang Theory, I told him I didn't think it was funny. And he actually leaned over to shake my hand, and when I told him I didn't think that Seinfeld was funny either, I actually had to run away from a hug. So it's not difficult to conclude that most geeks and nerds do not think the show is funny. In fact, some actually hate it. It gives the conventional audience a misconception as to what geeks are like, that we only like science fiction, comic books, and games, when that clearly isn't the case. I admit the show has problems, but being bad? I'm not willing to go that far. Yes, I will say the writing has an issue and the characters just don't feel real to me. But aside from the misconceptions that the show promotes, another obvious problem would have to be the laugh track. It is played at the most obscure time. The cast can hardly be doing anything and the track goes off.
Waiting for my husband.
That's nice.
He's coming back from outer space.
I think this flight's coming from Houston.
No, I mean... Never mind.
This can mean one out of two things. Either A, the show is not filmed in front of a live studio audience, or B, the studio audience doesn't think the material is funny either, so the track is used in a way to cue them to laugh. Another reason I think that not many geeks watch the show is because there are just better ones out there. You got Futurama, Daria, Downtown, and the best of all, the IT Crowd. To me, the IT Crowd is what Big Bang Theory was trying to be, but failed. Graham Linehan, who was the producer and writer of IT Crowd, is a geek himself and a complete social media whore. It's really not difficult to see what he's up to these days. Chuck Lorre, who is the producer and writer of Big Bang Theory, isn't much of a nerd at all. In fact, the only reason the show resembles geek culture in the slightest is because of co-producer Bill Purdy, who also worked on Star Trek Voyager. Family Matters is another show famous for its lovable nerd Steve Urkel, and while it was aired during the same time as Full House, people found it more enjoyable because of the obvious exaggeration of Steve's character. The show was self-aware of this and is thus made it more forgivable. Big Bang Theory tried to hard to make the characters real as possible, and it kind of imploded on itself. They didn't seem that all believable, which I guess is where some of the humor is lost to me. And why is it that some geeks like the show along with the conventional watcher? I think it's because it fits into their comfort zone. It takes them back to a time where sitcoms were more simpler and without conflict, which was a theme of the go-go 90s, and it's making a comeback today. Whether the show is funny or not, it has a weird sense of nostalgia, and how can you not enjoy that?
We'll remember you with nostalgic fondness. You know, the way we do the dial-up modem, the VHS tape, or Leonard's gym membership.
Big Bang Theory did to me what Full House did. It made me smile. That's it. Not laughter. Like, no, not laugh at all. Who keeps laughing at me?